Okay, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started because we do have a quorum, and I think that we've got a small meeting. So, try and get us out of here on time, if not earlier, right? So, as we said last time, we're gonna start every meeting by reading through the introduction and just introducing ourselves. So we'll go through this quickly. Members of the Wilmington Tree Commission are appointed by and serve at the pleasure of the City Council. Our charge is to promote and endorse programs and policies to support, maintain, and grow our urban forest, increase public education, and establish incentives to encourage a healthy, safe, and attractive natural environment in the City of Wilmington. Introducing staff, we have Sally both here from Parks and Recreation, and we have Travis who's playing Haley today. Thank you, Travis. And then if we could just go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Bridget, Vice Chair.
I'm Rhonda.
Terry Parham.
Jeez.
Kate Cardamom.
Isabel Shepherd.
Awesome. All right, so real quick, so we do have presence of quorum, so just can I get a call for a motion to approve last month's meeting minutes?
I so move.
The second?
A second.
Thank you. All right, meeting, oh, can we vote to approve the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, anyone opposed? Great, meetings are approved. No new applications from the heritage trees. So our big thing today is letting Isabel go through code and canopy, which is very exciting. Is there anything that anybody else wanted to bring up before we go into code and canopy? Brenda, I did want to check with you really quick. Like, I know you were kind of organizing all that volunteer information. Did you guys touch on that last month?
We talked about it. Haley was gonna send me, I don't have an actual list of the people in the group.
Okay.
So I don't know who I'm missing.
Okay, that we can fix that.
Yeah, and I did. I forgot to check with her again. So I just need that and then I'll know. I know there's a couple people that haven't responded, but I don't.
Okay. Full list. Okay.
Everyone here is responding.
And then on my part, I have not had any luck identifying professional organizations for the nurseries, but to be honest, I called like 2 and got kind of stymied. So that is on my list to try and actually stop by in person and talk to people.
I actually found a nursery like coalition.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in my wild search for trees, Sally, I don't know if you heard, yeah, wild search for, we bought Worthington out of native trees. And they were like, we have no more native trees to give you, Isabel. So I went on like a statewide search. There's a place in Fremont, which is only like 100 miles away. And the guy focuses solely on natives. He only grows to like 3 gallon, which I know is not ideal for the city per se, but like they are cheap. They seem to be of good quality. Anyway, and I found out about him through this like coalition of growers that Lloyd sent to me. So if you ping me on that, I would be happy to send that along. I make no promises as to my memory though.
No, that's okay. Cool, perfect. Okay, well, in that case, if there's no other things, I think we'll go straight into the Alliance update and both can go through code and canopy. Isabel, is there anything else Alliance-wise that you want to update before we jump into it?
Yeah, so we have a ton of really exciting things going on this fall and winter. We are like literally quadrupling our impact from last year. I am very proud of this. Tree stewards training is going well. We held our first 2 classes, one at the Arboretum, one at the MLK Center. Sally, thank you so much for picking up my Margie's Frenzied call Saturday morning because I was just nervous that thank you so much. But the training went really well. Bridget can attest. We're focusing on more team building because the volunteers are going to need to be working in teams. So we're trying to like increase that sense of camaraderie. Rhonda, I'm not sure. You can also report at how well or how not well we're doing at that. We did a DEI training, which we really called community sensitivity training for political reasons. But in any case, I think that was also very helpful. Then we've got a tree planting at DC Virgo for their Legacy Day. That's only 1 tree, but still worth noting. That's October 24th. Our first of 4 tree distributions this year. We're going to be giving away like 4,330 trees. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I called nurseries. I was like, I need like 2,000 trees. So anyway, that is sponsored by Verizon. Arbor Day Foundation. It will be at the Leland Cultural Arts Center. We have a list of the native species that we have on our website. we will be doing a planting in Olson Park. This is sponsored by Pathfinder Wealth Consulting, and we'll be adding 25 trees. A lot of that is also really, again, I want to give the city props for helping us find locations for these trees and bringing out mulch and just all of the help with setup. It is no, I understand that the logistics are something. December 5th.
I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to go backtrack. So all your tree giveaways are in Leland now?
No, that's just the first tree giveaway. So we will be giving away trees in New Hanover, Brunswick, and Pender, and Columbus counties. So the only, local one that we're not hitting is Pender. Who knows? Maybe next year we'll be able to do that too. So December 5th is one of 2 tree giveaways that will be based in Wilmington. This first one will be at Legion Stadium. Funded by Enterprise Mobility Foundation and Arbor Day Foundation. If we have trees left over on that day, because that is a Friday, we will continue the distribution on Saturday morning. But I will say one way that y'all can really, one concrete thing that you could do to help with trees in Wilmington would be to share the news about those tree giveaways. Like if you could do one thing, please just let everyone and their mother know that these tree giveaways are happening, because again, we're giving away more trees than ever before. And I really don't want to be stuck with like 200 magnolias.
What's the date of Legion?
The date at Legion is December 5th. And all of this is on our website on the events tab. So really easy. You can even just share that link with folks. You don't have to send them any of the details. It's just, if you go to our website, it's the events page.
Yeah, I'm in Sunset Park, so I'll put it on our Facebook page.
That would be
Yeah.
super dope. In fact, while you're saying that, I should make a note to post to community Facebooks about giveaway. I will have, what's that?
I was just gonna say, have you contacted like the churches to let them know about the events in the area? Because that's a good way to get it in like the announcements for Sunday.
Yeah, we need to do that. I've been a little bit more focused on like tree stewards and getting the trees ordered, but
Margie.
we're moving over to promotions now. But yes, we should do it to the community Facebook, and we should also do it to churches nearby. So I'll make a note of that as well.
Is December 5th a Friday, you said?
That is a Friday. We don't normally do them on a Friday, but Enterprise really wanted it on a Friday for their volunteers to do it. So we're doing it on a Friday. That's from 12 to 5. So January 10th, we have a street tree planting on the north side. We're planting about 100 trees, so we need a lot of volunteers. Once again, that's something that y'all can assist in us getting the word out and trying to get volunteers to help with that. That's funded by the NC Urban Forest Council and residents of Old Wilmington. Then we are going to have a tree planting at Glow Academy and Sparks Academy. That is funded by the Keep Your Garden Club. We will have a planting at DC Virgo, where we are planting the one sort of like legacy tree, but then Audi Cape Fear is sponsoring 40 trees there. If anyone knows of a landscape architect that would be willing to do tree planting plans for no dollars, that would be really dope, because I can theoretically plan for those 40 trees around DC Virgo, but I am not an arborist nor a landscaper. So if there's any way that we could get support there, that would be much appreciated. We will have another downtown tree giveaway. I'm working on trying to get the date for that. That will be funded by the Endowment and Landfall Foundation. And then finally, we will have a tree distribution in Columbus County, and that is funded by Duke Energy Foundation. So this is going to be I'm really proud of this, y'all. It's going to be our most biodiverse year of tree distributions. They are literally all going to be native. And we're giving away like 500 to 1,000 more than we even promised to our funders. So it's really exciting. And that's all I've got for the Alliance, I think. But then I can do the Code and Canopy presentation. If that's, I don't know how to get it.
Can we,
Up there.
can we hold just for a second?
Sure.
I think we ended up with 2 different Teams meetings,
Oh, no.
and we need to be in.
Sure.
I think
Is this not the
it's-
one that was on the agenda?
Yeah, I'm in the one that was our different one. So, Catherine, I'm gonna leave this and start a second one. I'll send you the invite to that one.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, y'all.
Totally fine. Isn't that cool?
I think, not sure why, but we couldn't see Alana and Kathy trying to get into the meeting.
Yeah,
but
hey guys.
Now we can. So, hello, everyone.
All right. Well, welcome Alana and Kathy. Glad we got you. So we just went through the Alliance update and now Isabel's going to jump into Code and Canopy. Isabel?
Okay, cool. All right, so not sure the best way to do this. Is there like a little clicky? Oh, cool, there's a clicky.
Hit the down button.
The down button. All right.
Actually, now it might be the up button.
Oh. Oh, no.
Okay. We're just making sure that everyone has a copy of it as well.
Oh, cool. Yes. Yeah, cool. All right, great. I'm gonna stand just because to stretch my legs, if anything. Okay, so when I started at the Alliance for Cape Fear Trees, I originally had studied poli-sci in school. I'm really fascinated by policy and ordinances. And I recognized that it became very clear because when I started, all of this hubbub around sledge forest was happening, right? I like came in and that was the big topic. And, you know, when we were meeting with planners, with elected officials, they were saying, look, this is proceeding by right because it abides by the codes and ordinances. So, you know, as I was starting in, I sort of felt like the Alliance was playing whack-a-mole. We responded to sledge forest. We responded to the Flossie Bryan Farm Tract, and because of a large, you know, groundswell of support, the county ended up purchasing that property. But again, fundamentally, that was a reactionary response to development situations in our region. And even House Bill 765, which we advocated against because it would have taken away local authority for various zoning regulations. We responded to that. Unfortunately, that bill did get stalled in committee during the last North Carolina General Assembly session. But again, that's reacting to a bill that came before the NC legislature. So I wanted to get my arms around, you know, what is good policy when it comes to tree preservation? What does that look like? What are other cities and counties doing to advance these goals? Because fundamentally, I also always, I say it all the time, but I hate reinventing the wheel. And there's no reason to do it. You know, other cities and counties have been trying out different codes and ordinances that will increase tree canopy coverage, protect mature trees. So I created this document, which went from being like an 8-page single space Word doc to now 40 pages fully designed. Y'all, I'll be flipping through it. Please, you all, I know will appreciate the photos used are all native trees to the Southeast region, which I'm very proud of. So if nothing else, people will learn about native trees when they flip through this. But essentially our pitch is that sustainable growth must balance treetops with rooftops. Oh no. Okay. There we go. This is endorsed by, I'm really proud, Audubon, North Carolina, Cape Fear River Watch, Cape Fear Sierra Club, the North Carolina Coastal Fed, Conservation Network, North Carolina Wildlife Federation. So this is supported by state level groups. And I suppose I should say, as I started creating this document, you know, I really obviously wanted to affect the lower Cape Fear region. That is our service area. But fundamentally, the more I got into it, I realized this guide could really be used throughout North Carolina. Hell, it can be used outside of North Carolina. In fact, when I double checked all of the cities and counties that I reference in Code and Canopy, just to send them to say like, hey, here's a draft, here's how I reference you. Did I get this code and ordinance correct? And several of them have asked like, can you please send me a finalized version when this is done? We would like to use this. So Apex is looking at using this already. So is Chattanooga is going to bring it to their tree commission next month, which is really exciting. The town of Leland has already put tree ordinances back on their agenda. agenda based on this report. So we are already seeing that it is going to have, I think, a really great impact on our landscape, both locally and goodness gracious, if I save even one tree in Tennessee, I'm going to be really proud of it. So we broke this up into a couple sections. So keep trees standing, low impact development, canopy and clean water, strengthen protections, rethink essential services, and set higher standards. And then further, I will say all of this is with the caveat that currently our local governments are restrained in two ways. One is by Dylan's rule, which takes away some, and Travis, I know that I'm dumbing this down substantially. Feel free to add in. But essentially, it does restrict the authority of local governments to a certain extent. General Statute 160D really gives a lot of leeway to local governments for these types of protections. But then unfortunately, there was a provision that we will talk about later that has further sort of hamstrung local governments. And so in this next legislative cycle, we're not just going to be advocating for changes on a local level, we are going to be advocating for the repeal of that troubling language that really makes it impossible for local governments to implement some of what we are suggesting. But I'm kind of throwing in everything in the kitchen sink. There are things in there that can be done now, like incentives or environmental committees. There's tons of things that we can do even in this framework. And then of course, we're going to be pushing for change on a state level that will allow us to have greater control over our localities. So keeping trees standing is pretty self-explanatory. There is certainly replanting efforts are needed. But when you stick a 7-gallon tree in the ground, you are not making up for the loss of a live oak, of a longleaf pine. So some of the things, and I should note that, again, this is meant to be a policy book for across the state, across the region at least, but it is serving as being across the state. I know Durham is excited to use this too. So some of these things Wilmington is already doing. For instance, the protecting of mature trees, but I still list it here because good God, I would like Pender to protect their mature trees. I would like for Leland to start doing this. So for the city folks here, please know that I do know that you already are doing some of this and I try to credit you appropriately. So protecting mature trees, establishing tree safe areas. So acknowledging that trees are a lovely little familial species for us to get the best and most out of their biodiversity and their habitat. Tree safe areas are important. That's one that I'm really excited about. And offering flexible standards. I should note that this guide was created not just based on peer cities and peer counties and planning departments. It was based out of our conversations with developers. We held a developer circle of folks who were like, hey, I want to save trees, but I kind of need the city to work with me on this. So flexible standards, which the city does have to a certain degree, allowing planning staff to exercise discretionary flexibility. But again, this goes to other municipalities that maybe don't have quite that flexible standards. There's some other things in here. Also, we note policies in action. I note how the city of Wilmington and New Hanover County have certain regulations around regulated trees, and I am hoping that other municipalities, other counties will view this and maybe will adopt it for themselves. I will say that there is room for growth, and we advocate for expanding protections to include all trees with 24 inches DBH, and perhaps lowering the threshold to 18 inches for longleaf pines due to their slow growth habit and ecological significance. Some examples of flexible standards in Apex, Durham, Raleigh, a lovely southern magnolia there. Charlotte does a lot of great things. I had a whole little page here on kind of how they do tree save areas. Resource management plans, Durham and Orange County use those. Lovely little river birch. Low impact development. So essentially saying, let's use green infrastructure instead of, or at least supplementing gray infrastructure. So working with the natural hydrology of a site rather than just stormwater ponds consistently. So incorporating those into site design and revising standards to prevent unintended canopy loss, as well as limiting impervious cover. Who is sick of impervious cover? We all are. little information about Chapel Hill and Charlotte's stormwater infiltration-based systems. And this is a bit of a diagram of what a bioretention area looks like for those who don't know. River Bluffs is a great example of low impact development locally. Another one is going to be the redevelopment of the Azalea Inn on Market Street. I'm really excited about that project. And I would like to probably add that in a second edition of Code and Canopy. We will be releasing this every year with updates, things that we've learned. I would like to highlight the things in the last year that we've accomplished. Like, good God, if the town of Leland adopts a tree ordinance, I would like for us to brag on how that happened. So we will be updating this, and I imagine that that might be another example that I'd like to add in. Canopy for clean water. So trees ease the burden on costly stormwater systems by filtering pollutants and improving water quality, often outperforming pipes and basins. Establishing forested buffer zones around streams, wetlands, floodways to filter pollutants and slow stormwater runoff, integrating trees into stormwater codes as a stormwater control measure, SCM, incentivizing preservation through stormwater credits, and establishing watershed protection overlay districts. I think this is dope. Whenever I learned about this, I was like, this is super cool. And it's acknowledging that, you know, there are some watersheds where we really need to protect water quality. And so, this also might appeal to me because of my historic preservation background and the historic overlay districts. I love an overlay. So that would essentially apply increased protections in those districts. But that is something that the current section 3K.1 of session law 2024-57, I am very fun at parties, that is currently stopping us from doing these kinds of implementing overlay districts and things of that sort. So I'd really love to see that overturned. Some examples from Charleston, Charlotte, Raleigh, Apex, oh no, I hit the wrong button. That beautiful black gum fall color. Wow, don't we all? We'll be giving those away. Please come get them. Then we've got strengthening protections and enforcing existing codes. Little fun story. This was initially called closing loopholes, and New Hanover County was like, can you please not say that? And I was, that's reasonable, that's fair. So, because the thing is, it's not so much about closing loopholes, it's about making sure that the policies that we have in place are being used as intended. So right now, I think the issue with sludge forest is that ideally a performance subdivision is designed to protect green space, but fundamentally kind of the intense density that is being allowed is unsustainable, right? So I've even been talking with other planners and how performance subdivisions, it might need to be limited. Like, great, if you increase density in one area and leave tree save area, you can increase your lots up to X amount, as opposed to it just being you can do, if you have 4 acres and you can develop 4 houses on it, but in 1 little acre, the rest is free. In the case of sludge forest, it's more like here's 4,000 acres and 1,000 upland acres, and you're going to cram 4,000 houses onto that. So kind of putting some level of like restriction for scale is an interesting topic. So revising performance subdivision rules, again, they are designed to conserve land. So we need to make sure that they're being used for that purpose. Identify high value natural areas and strengthen zoning protections. This one's a big one for me. So many of the region's most sensitive lands, wetlands, floodlands, natural heritage sites are still zoned for build out. Like, that's why sludge forest is proceeding, because technically they could build on the entire thing. So in any case, we need to update zoning maps and appropriately reclassify these areas to safeguard ecosystems. We could adopt conservation resource areas, which would require developers to identify, preserve, and cluster around mapped ecological resources, such as mature forests. This shifts policy from sort of piecemeal tree preservation to landscape level. And then we've got examples from Cary, from Durham, from Chatham County, Athens, Clark County, Georgia. Love this photo of a black walnut. It's kind of my favorite tree. I love the citrusy smell, you know, they're falling this time of year. It's lovely. Anyway, so conservation subdivisions, this is a little similar to performance subdivisions, and this is an example from Chatham County. And then rethinking essential services, highlighted with a little fringe tree. So essentially, right now, developers, if you are citing for gray infrastructure, right, they don't have to pay mitigation fees if the utility says, look, I've got to put a pipe there. Then it's essential services, no fee is required. We would like to mandate alternative routing analysis. So look, if you can move that pipe over here and save a bunch of this whole tree save area, save this biodiversity, then like move it 5 feet to the side, please. So requiring utilities and agencies to submit routing analyses prior or before citing projects that would impact protected trees, canopy, proving no feasible alternative exists. Analyses should be reviewed early on by urban forestry staff with projects avoiding canopy loss eligible for faster approvals or reduced mitigation fees. I will say to the city folks in the room, as I say this, I know that it costs money for an urban forestry team to manage all of this or look at all of this. One thing that I think is missing from code and canopy right now, maybe that I would love your thoughts on how to add in, is a push to simply fund urban forestry on a city and county level. Like, we're really lucky to have an arborist and an urban forestry team. Not every city has that. So I should add that caveat. Oh, is there a little red thing? Oh yeah, I always love that. Anyway, okay, so policies in action, that's in Charlotte, Austin, Chicago. Local example, critical root zone. So the city does require strict protection of a tree's critical root zone during construction. Not every city, county has this. So that's one way that Wilmington is sort of showing this positive strategy. And I'm hoping that other cities and counties follow suit, right? Wouldn't it be great if Burgos had this law? So setting higher standards. So when they do need to go and replant, my goodness, the soil quality should be good. A lot of developers just backfill the garbage soil and they stick a tree in it, and the tree's going to die in like 5 years because the soil is garbage and it's compacted. Selection and diversity. No more crepe myrtles. New plantings should prioritize native or regionally adapted species suitable for urban conditions. And then avoiding over-reliance on single species to reduce pest and disease vulnerability. And then maintenance and establishment period. So they need to be maintained 2 years after planting, which includes inspections to ensure survival. Once again, I do know that takes staff time. In any case, and then canopy coverage goals. So instead of just seeing it as, well, you're taking out 10 trees of this DBH, so add this back, we need to be talking about the canopy that we're losing, right? So we need to be focusing on kind of the overhead, the overall of it. Examples from Charlotte, Chapel, New Hanover County, and Wilmington. Again, yeah, that's something where we do have some of those policies, which is great. And then Chattanooga. Case study for Durham, landscape manual. So that is all about, policies for replanting, that sort of thing. Then I tried my best, and I don't know if I did the best job here. I did my best to kind of give an overview of like, what is the city of Wilmington already doing? What is New Hanover County already doing? What is Brunswick County already doing? Barely anything, but trying to sort of show, that there are protections in place. All right. State regulations on local authority. So this is Dillon's rule. For those who haven't heard of it, it limits local governments to powers expressly granted by the state legislature. Now, New Hanover County, our tree protections are grounded in a law passed in 1987 that explicitly authorizes New Hanover County and all townships, municipalities within to regulate tree removal on public and private land. And that's the legal backbone of our regulatory authority. Other communities, though, like Charlotte and Chapel Hill, they have also secured it in the same way. But Orange County, meanwhile, relies solely on chapter 160D to enforce strong tree preservation and open space standards. And NC General Statute Chapter 160D modernizes North Carolina's planning laws and provides a framework for local governments to regulate landscaping and buffering within the development process. So it does not independently authorize standalone tree preservation ordinances, but rather it enables them to integrate those tree and canopy protections into zoning, subdivisions, landscaping standards, because those powers are expressly given to local governments under Chapter 160D. So in short, that amendment to the law gives counties broad powers for land use and environmental protection. Also, this is the only photo of a pawpaw tree that doesn't look like garbage. I would just like everyone, the pawpaw is not an attractive tree, you guys. What is that? So anyway, but they're not cute. Like, look at, anyway, Dylan's rules.
Well, I don't think you've seen healthy ones made.
I'm photos. If you go take a good photo of a pawpaw. Anyway, so Dylan's rule. So this is sort of the breakdown of it. And I will say, this is something where when I was making this, everyone was talking about Dylan's rule. So I went to Representative Deb Butler and I asked, like, what does this mean for tree protections? Can you tell me what that is? And she actually had one of her staffers look into this and kind of provide this overview over here. So I feel pretty good about it legally, given that that came from a House representative's office. So tree ordinances are allowable as long as they're rooted in statute. And I will say, there is still some confusion or hesitation around the limits imposed by Dylan's rule. And so sometimes municipalities, counties are like, hey, I get it. I hear what you're saying, but I still am worried about being sued. So I would say it could be, we would love to remove that ambiguity. And here is some suggested language that might be introduced into General Assembly policies. And it's something that I'm going to, quite frankly, be knocking on Representative Butler's door again and saying, like, hey, can you introduce legislation like this? So that would expressly grant authority, and that would empower all North Carolina communities to make that change. But this is the real pain. Downzoning restrictions on local authority, and that was passed in a Hurricane Helene recovery law, was slipped in there, but it limited local governments from downzoning. And for those of you who do not know, downzoning is a change to zoning laws that reduces the density or intensity of how a piece of land can be developed. So when you're moving something from heavy industrial to residential, you wouldn't make that jump. I know, planners in the room. But like theoretically, going from that kind of high intensity use, right, to a lower use, because it would be taking away someone's constitutional powers to land, whatever. So it restricts county initiated downzonings, the creation of overlay zoning districts and nonconformities for existing commercial properties, the ability to raise landscaping or design standards, and local code updates that conflict with the bill. So this is not ideal. You know, when local planners are trying to make these changes, unfortunately, their hands are tied to some degree. So I wanted to acknowledge that. I didn't want to ignore that reality that we currently live in. So last session, House Bill 419 was submitted, or maybe it was Senate Bill, in any case, was submitted to repeal that troubling provision that reduces the downzoning authority. It's now stuck in Rules Committee, which is where bills go to die. So we are advocating for, essentially, this is the exact, oh yes, it was Senate Bill 419. This is the exact wording that they used. I'm just saying, let's just reintroduce that next year. We already have the wording for it. The work is done. Just reintroduce it. So further, essentially, I'm trying to reduce any barrier to entry for tree preservation. I am just trying anything that someone's like, well, we can't do it because of X. I am trying to remove that barrier. So here we go. Legislation is already written. By the way, here's a local resolution that cities or counties could pass to say, hey, we support the repeal of section 3K.1. So they don't even have to write it. I have already written it. There's no, you just copy paste. And then, let's see here, restoring local authority. So this is even a sample letter to the NC General Assembly. So great. I've given you the resolution, the letter to the General Assembly. You just have to plug in like the names and areas and go forth. Sally, I see you like make this happen. Anyway, so we're going to try to get that overturned. I will be doing like an advocacy campaign starting probably in January when the General Assembly starts back up. So be on the lookout for that. And then here's to say, even with these limitations, there are things that we can do. We can offer incentive-based tree preservation tools. I would love to see that at least done in Pender and Burgaw, just like the positive, right? Like give them at least the carrot. If the stick is off the table, give folks a carrot. Environmental reviews. So this could include floodplain analysis, tree surveys, or habitat studies. And even without mandates, the simple act of disclosure often influences outcomes, right? So sometimes just enough public pressure and you can at least see something change. So environmental reviews can help with that. And environmental advisory committees or environmental review advisory committees or commissions for the environment. I don't know the difference between any of them. I don't know if there is one, but I have included examples from Henderson County, Chatham County, Orange County. And these are boards that are appointed kind of similar to a Wilmington Tree Commission, but with a little more teeth. And they are able to advise the county or city on you know, if there's an idea coming up, quite frankly, the talk that the city is currently having about whether or not to purchase green space. If we had a commission for the environment, they could advise like, yes, this green space is valuable. It meets this need that we have in the community. We see it as increasing. Like they could advise on how to make the most of our public dollars. I have a glossary because I'm a nerd. I have an appendix which has even the code language. I try planners. Once again, I understand that this is not how it would eventually work out, but it's a starting point to talk about like what these suggested code updates would look like, what they would say. And it was another great excuse to focus on some native trees. Look at the cedar and the juniper, all of that. I didn't realize I put two cedars next to one another. I did not intend for that. Anyway, moving on. And then that's it. That's my whole show. Thank you for giving me the time to ramble. Thank you. The hyperfixation sometimes is good. Yes.
Questions?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess I'll hang on to it.
Since there's a lot of information that you just went through.
Yeah.
Could you call out, are there any specific Wilmington call outs that you'd like to
Like what I would like to see here.
right, like with our city specifically?
Very cool. I would love it if we looked more into incentives. Again, I know that we already have some. I would love to see if those could be advanced in some way. I think that if we were to look at the other counties' reference, perhaps we could pull from their UDOs. So incentives, I would love to see an environmental commission. That's something that Roger Shu on our board is really passionate about. And I do think it would be great to have something guiding our local decision-making, something that is informed by a group that is community-minded, that has backgrounds in science. Yes, I would want there to be mandated positions. Like we need an ecologist on there. We need an urban forester. We need an arborist. We need a representative from maybe an underserved community. Like we need to have there be defined roles for that, for it to be really effective. And then let's see, for Wilmington specifically, see if I can go through really fast. Oh, please donate to us. Well, really what I would like to see Wilmington do, yeah. I want to see Wilmington do this. Like I want this sample local resolution. I want us to send the letter to the General Assembly. Like the biggest hurdle in North Carolina for saving trees is this. I mean, Travis, like, what are your thoughts on that as a planner?
No, it is. It's a hurdle for a number of different things, but at its core, we go through these long-range planning exercises. We hear from thousands and thousands of people about what they want to see in their community. And then our mechanism for changing it, making that happen is, for lack of a better word, kneecapped by
Right.
this.
Well,
So-
what is, I can't read it. What is the number of the limiting code or whatever it is, or?
All of this will be provided, like when we're gonna do a big like letter writing campaign. We'll do it through Action Network so that all you have to do is like click on the link, hit your locality and it'll send it to the appropriate representatives. But the bill is the section of the bill that is troubling is section 3K.1 of session law 2024-57. It was in Senate Bill, it was in Senate Bill 382, but to be clear, we don't want to overturn Senate Bill 382 because for the most part, that is a good bill that provided Hurricane Helene relief. Unfortunately, some legislator was like, look at this perfect opportunity to slip in this troubling provision, right? And so that is what we are currently working to overturn. If I could get the city to do anything, it would be to really push hard and say like, our city is not, like, this isn't working for our city. I need them to send this sample letter. I need everyone to get behind this campaign.
So, and I apologize for my ignorance on this, but that's pretty recent then. So this
It is
a
pretty recent.
Legislation.
Yes,
Okay, I think that's an important thing to note, that this is not something that's been going on for like.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. I should play that up more. I think when I say Hurricane Helene, I try to date it that way, but there's so many hurricanes in this region. It's probably good to just be like, yeah. So it passed in 2014. It's very recent. In fact, this is an interesting note. So 2024, sorry, time flies. There is one county and I am blanking on which one it is. Maybe Orange County. Anyway, I added a bit of an addendum to whichever page it is on, but one of the counties does have some really interesting UDO amendments that were adopted, but unfortunately they had not been enacted by the time this legislation was passed. So right now they have these adopted UDO situations, but until this is overturned, those cannot go into place. So literally, if we were to overturn this troubling provision, right, then we would already be saving trees. Like trees would be saved immediately because that ordinance would go into place the next day and it could save trees. So what? Chatham. Yeah, it's a real, thank you. Very impressive. Look at you go.
Well, I've studied conservation subdivisions. That was my thesis project.
Okay. Yeah.
And Chatham, even that 8 years ago, was already leading the state. when it
Yeah.
came to that topic.
Isabel, you have something on your website that allows us to see this provision. Click on it and send information.
Not yet. So we're launching this to sort of start the conversation with local elected leaders, with planners, all of that. But we will not be launching that until the General Assembly starts back up again, which will not be until January. There's really no point in doing any of this before January. The only thing that I'll be doing before January is perhaps setting up a meeting with Representative Butler, with Senator Lee, and trying to get them to have this kind of on, in their back pocket when the session starts back up again. But in terms of our public engagement strategy, it's just not the time.
Any other questions? A lot of information to take in.
This is available on the website. So all of it is available on the website.
Wow. I just think it's incredible what you've done.
Yeah.
Your energy, your enthusiasm, your full component of all these variables that you considered, followed through on it. It's really, really impressive, and we're very lucky to have you doing it. I would request a couple of things. You mentioned with the longleaf pine, because it's so slow growing that you want to change the DBH from 24 inches to 18 inches. I would follow through with live oak and laurel oak, or just the evergreen oaks, especially from what I've seen since I moved down here, Live and Laurel, is they're very, very slow growing as well. And because they're so slow growing, if it takes forever to get any, height and width, they need more consideration as well, because they're such very valuable species. Additionally, I want to talk to you about pawpaw. It's really what I call a shrubby tree. It's not a normal tree that we consider a tree with a single trunk and a certain canopy size. These are really shrub trees, and they grow differently, and they are a little motley looking, but simultaneously they provide so much habitat and fruit. And I love the pawpaw. We should grow my yard, but I've seen other guys. The only thing that a lot of people don't like about it is they go underground and they pop up and go underground and pop up. And so they're colonizers, and that's wonderful for stability of your soil. But a lot of people don't like that variable.
Yeah, we'll be giving away, I think like 300 or 400 pawpaws this year. Yeah, it's very exciting. Yeah, and persimmons, like 200, maybe more persimmons. So I'm really, really jazzed about that. Yeah.
Any other questions?
I'm actually just curious, how long did it take you to do all of this?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't,
I mean, this is amazing, really.
thank you. Yeah, it took me, I think I started on the project in early August. That was when we met with the developers. So I started doing research then, and then the design of it has taken a substantial time. Checking with the cities and counties, all of it. It's been, this is my baby.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's beautiful work.
Yeah, incredible. This is wonderful.
Kathy had a compliment for you.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone online. Any other questions from the online gallery? All right. Like I said, it's a lot of information to take in. I think main takeaways from this meeting is we need to push the giveaways for
Mhm.
Lions.
Yes.
Where students are help is just pushing like, hey, come out and get some free trees. Because tree planting season is starting. And take the time to find this and read through it. And
You signed this?
spread it around to your friends who would read something like this. So, anything else that anyone wants to bring up? Sally, good.
I just wanted to give a quick update.
Yeah.
City council authorized a contract for our street tree planting project, so that it's gonna kick the end of the year here. 140 trees.
Wow.
So we're really excited about
Cool.
it.
That is
Trees
great.
going in the ground.
There's gonna be so many baby trees this time next year, guys.
It's like we're doing a massive catch up or something. So awesome.
It is awesome. Well, great. I think that's really good news to end on then. So let's go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys for showing up.
Just one.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Travis.
There is an item of new business for adopting your 2026 meeting calendar.
Thank you. Missed that, okay. So we need to vote on this calendar. 2026 calendar, we have Tree Fest in January, the Arbor Day in March, the North Carolina Arbor Day, I should say, and the National Arbor Day in April, Earth Day Festival in April. Any additional events that we need to add to the commission calendar?
Well, and then your meeting calendar is also,
Got it.
and that really is more specifically what you're adopting.
Thank you, Travis. I don't know how to get through this without you.
I wanted to ask, is there any chance we can change it to a different week of the month? Because I do both Parks and Rec
Yeah.
Commission, and so that means I have to come here twice on the same day.
Is there a reason that we have this on this week that's like city mandated, or what's the thought on that?
Don't believe it's city mandated. I think it's probably in the bylaws that it would require an event for that, but that is something I think we could do. I wish Haley was here.
I was gonna say,
That would-
it's something we might want to table till the next, because we do have November meeting before we break for the year.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say let's push that when Haley and Tom are here and let's see if we can, because I would not be
I
opposed to
appreciate it.
changing it either,
Okay.
so. Cool. Anything else?
So as far as the additional events, wouldn't we put like Fire in the Pines, and is that where that would go?
That is where it would go.
And also we discussed possibly doing something at Riverfest next year. Possibility,
Talked about this last.
yeah.
We can add those to the calendar. We're not gonna vote till next meeting anyway, because we'll talk about that, but I'll ask Haley to add that in. Anybody else? Yes.
Just offer to the commission that adopting your meeting calendar would never preclude you from adding events.
Oh.
As well.
So
So
it's not set in stone after
uh,
that.
if,
Yeah.
if there's things that come up that, you know, I want to be there.
Okay.
Well, since we have a forum, vote on just the events part and then table the meeting schedule part, or should they go together?
I don't believe, actually looking at the agenda, that adopting the event calendar was,
Even needs to be done. Okay.
yeah, I don't think that was what was intended. I think adopting the regular meeting calendar was just the back page. So if there's a desire for a discussion about a different meeting date.
Yeah.
That's.
All right, so we'll do that in November meeting. And I'll have probably send out an email before that meeting to get people's thoughts on when they might want to do it, if they're happy with the time.
Okay, great.
Make a note of that. Great.
Just a couple things from Haley. She wanted to let everybody know that she is working on transferring the native tree documents that were created earlier. She's making presentation versions of that.
Great.
She also, the reason she's not here is that she's at the joint American Planning Association, North Carolina and South Carolina conference this week. She has made it clear that she has multiple tree-related sessions on her agenda, so I'm not going to ask her to do a formal presentation or anything, but you should ask her next time you see her what she learned.
Yeah.
I have a question. The things that are changing into a presentation, are those the papers that we hand out at the, like, when we were at Fire in the Pines, we handed out
That's
a
my,
native tree?
Yeah.
That's what, yeah.
Because the one with the water trees is missing bald cypress and there's a blank spot. I don't
It says
know.
water, there's one on salt water.
The
Salt,
water tolerant. Right, which should include the bald cypress and it's.
I would say just email Haley because she'd make the presentations.
I didn't even know there was a 10 best of water tolerant. I did salt tolerant. I'll do one on
Salt
water
tolerant.
tolerant.
Yeah, it's.
That's a good idea. I don't think I did one on water. Tolerant. I'll do that.
Okay, yeah, just let her know. Anything else, Sally or Karen?
and the only other thing is, and this is just a heads up, there will be a draft of the Greater Downtown Plan released very soon. So we'll make sure that that link gets sent out to everyone, but we'll be out pounding the pavement between now and Christmas, doing 15 to 20 more pop-ups plus some workshops. We've already had 5,200 plus folks contribute to the part. And personally, I'd love to see that number above 7,000. Wrap it up, but we'll see. We'll keep you on the loop.
We're gonna have a packed meeting next month, so thank you guys for coming. Thanks for watching the presentation, and thank you, Isabel, for going through that with us.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Oh. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. All right, we have to vote on that, or are we good? Can we vote to adjourn the meeting?
Aye.
All in favor? Okay. Anyone opposed? No. Cool. At some point in my life, I will learn these rules of order, but that point is not today, apparently. Bye, everyone. We have to get walked out,
Thanks.
right?
Very for getting me on.
How did you?